And welcome back to Versus Live. I'm Ross Merriam.
I'm Corey Baumeister.
And we got Dan May in the booth. Say hi, Dan.
Hi, everybody.
And
we're going to get him one of these days.
Yeah, one of these days.
We're wearing him down.
We're going to get him. As always, we are brought to you by Star City Games and Carnox Chairs. If you want one of these bad boys, got to go to carnox.com/SCG. And if you use that affiliate link, you will get 10% off of your purchase. So you'll be both comfortable and thrifty. And, you know, that's the dream.
That is the dream.
Yeah.
And I did hear a rumor. I heard that if you made it out of the top 4, they were going to send you a chair.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I know. But now they said
now no dice.
Never. No dice. Yeah.
Oh, that's just unfair, Cedric.
I know. You were close, buddy.
We gotta ramp up this campaign for chairs.
We really do.
Tag at Cedric A. Phillips on Twitter. Tell him Corey and I both really deserve chairs for all our hard work.
Exactly. Our backs are suffering. You know.
Yeah.
I mean.
You know, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I need proper lumbar support, even when I'm not in the office. Okay?
Exactly.
You know, we're only here 3 hours a pop, twice a week. That's only 6 hours out of the week.
I know.
So, you know, got to help me out there, Cedric.
No kidding. No kidding.
We are continuing our breakdown of last week's Open in Dallas-Fort Worth, and we're moving on to the Champions deck list. This is Harlan Fear's 4-color Whirza, you know, a deck that he has become intimately associated with, been crushing for the last 2 months.
He's a stone cold master.
Yeah, been obliterating everyone.
Yeah,
he's unbeatable. So now, fortunately, it's not Harlan in the chair; it's just you. So you're very beatable.
Oh yeah. I will not have the tools, you know, in my brain to play like he does. That's for sure.
And I will be playing what is my favorite deck from the top 64 of the tournament. This is Jacob Hagen's 9th place Orzhov Smallpox list. Smallpox is just one of my favorite cards of all time. I just, you know, it's one of those cards that when it's good, wow.
Yeah.
It just ends the game on the spot on turn 2. Like your opponent just looks at their hand and they're like,
they just read that and be like, wait, all
my
of
land
the
is
things,
gone.
yeah.
My mana creature is gone. I got to discard a card out of my hand. You're sacrificing a flagstone, so that doesn't matter. You discarded a lingering soul, so that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Didn't sacrifice a creature, and I'm just like, what? Is this? It just feels so unfair.
Feels so unfair. Yeah.
It takes a little bit of work, you know, to make it happen. And one of the issues with the Smallpox decks, as they've been built in the past, is they have a pretty anemic clock. They have a lot of these recursive threats, like I said, Lingering Souls, Bloodcast. Neither of those puts a ton of pressure on the opponent, but this deck incorporates 2 different threats that are able to really put the pressure on. One is the newly unbanned Stoneforge Mystic.
Yep.
And 2 is Gideon Ally Zendikar. Great at, you know, flooding the battlefield with creatures, generating value, which is what this mid-range deck wants to do anyway. Can also, you know, get an Anthem and make your blood gas a little bit better going long.
Sure.
But really, it's just 7 power for 4 mana.
Yeah.
So a really great follow-up to Liliana, a really great follow-up when your opponent's struggling to recover from Smallpox. Like, you know, eventually that they're going to draw enough cards that the Smallpox, you know, the effect isn't going to be seen. They'll recover from it. So you need to close the door quickly. And the decks before haven't been able to do that. I think this list does a really good job of mitigating that deficiency in the previous lists, and one of the reasons that it had a lot of success.
Yeah, and I'm with you on most of that, but I still feel like the 4-mana Planeswalker debaters be like, this 4-mana Planeswalker is insane, but it's 4 mana. It's modern. I mean, I know we're essentially stone raining people with Smallpox. We're disrupting with hand disruption spells, so you can get to 4 mana. That's the only reason I think it's like reasonable. Otherwise, I just think Gideon is just unplayable right now.
You haven't played modern. The format's slower. You know, the Whirza deck can kill on turn 3. It doesn't do it that often.
Yeah.
It plays a lot of slow games. Especially when you're disrupting them. They're fine at being resilient through that disruption and playing that game.
Yep.
So, you know, you're going to see a lot of games where you get to 4 mana and you feel comfortable just casting your 4 drops.
That's true.
Yeah, a lot of fair magic going on in modern in this new era. So I think Gideon is a really good option. It's great at attacking planeswalkers. I think it's really good in like Stoneblade mirrors.
Sure. Yeah.
We saw some Azorius and other like sort of blue-white base lists incorporating maybe one. Maybe it's in the sideboard. Pretty good at attacking like Jace the Mind Sculptor, the way that Tezzeret used to do back in Standard. So I think that's a sleeper card right now. I think Gideon's actually quite good.
Yeah, I believe Gideon could be good. And I think one of the best things about Smallpox right now is just the fact that you get to play white, so you get the best sideboard cards. You know, you get Stony Silence, you get Rest in Peace. You still have Path to Exile to deal with any bad creatures or anything like that. So I like white for the sideboard stuff, but I still... am skeptical, but we're going to find out.
Yeah.
I'm sure my Pithing Needle will have nothing to say about Gideon.
Okay, well, you'll be able to play.
All right.
And, that should help you out.
Yes. Oh, I love this deck so much. Okay. Sand is a little awkward here. I'm going to keep, but we do have an obvious problem with this hand, but we get a couple looks. So yeah, overall, pretty good hand.
I will keep as well.
All right. I'm going to go to 19.
I don't think I can mulligan any hand that starts with these 4 cards.
I don't like that.
Harlan's in chat. He says it's going to be great watching Ross lose to Urza for the 3rd time in 5 days.
I'll make sure to keep making you proud, Harlan.
Good luck.
And then teach me your ways for GP Indianapolis. You know, send me your energy so I can take that one down. All right, so I'm going to play Astrolabe, draw a card. I'm going to go Mox Opal, Welding Jar, and pass to you. We're probably going to get our hand looked at here.
I will start on just an Inquisition.
Just an Inquisition. Okay. So we got some stuff.
Okay.
But we are missing some land.
Yeah, so I will certainly be taking the Thopter Foundry.
Okay.
This will force the Engineer to try to bring that one back. And I should be able to kill the Engineer. Faster.
I don't like that.
Sword of the Meek, yeah. That one's not one I want to take.
Okay, so now it is the question now that you can probably kill Engineer. I don't really see myself being able to do much about that right now. It's either I don't play spells or I play the Engineer. So we are going to play it. We're going to search something up here. Don't need Thopter Foundry because we have that. We have the other combo piece here. So now it's just what are we looking for the future here?
Well, you just want to find like Ichor Wellspring.
Ichor Wellspring is definitely nice. Just have something to get back. I could also see like Ensnaring Bridge to eventually bring that back, but I think I'd rather have that as a Whir target.
Agreed.
So I think all my silver bullets I'm going to leave in the deck because I do have 3 Whir of Inventions in this list and only 2 more Engineers. So the odds of me getting it out of my library are higher. So I am going to go for exactly what you said. Go for the value card here. And then we're just going to play a Scalding Tarn and pass it to you. We're in top deck mode here, but we're one Urza away from just slamming this game, not shut, but having a very nice chance to win. And now this does kind of force Ross's hand to just have to deal with Goblin Engineer right now.
Yeah, and we are able to do that. I think we want to do it with this instead of the other card in our hand.
Smallpox?
And are we? If we do it with the Smallpox, then yeah, I just don't think I can risk it. I don't have another land. So let's just push this.
That makes sense.
I could take the Opal out of Corey's hand to prevent an Urza top deck, but that seems like a poor use of the card. So let's just pass.
So now I want to think, do I want to sack Scalding Tarn right now to thin the deck plus get a different color? I might as well go to 18. We're probably going to just get a dual land here. Well, the question is what? Probably Watery Grave here, but I could also see I could also see like a Steam Vents. Definitely don't want Breeding Pool. All right, we'll just go with the Watery Grave here. All right. Untap. And we definitely need a good draw. It's probably a good draw. Float of Mana. Box Opal. Mystic Forge. Oh, excuse me there. Okay. If it's an artifact or a colorless non-land, huh? Okay. Pay 1 life to exile. I've never actually gotten to cast this card. I've had it in my deck plenty of times, but so non-land.
That's not good.
Oh, you can cast regular lands, huh? Or colorless non-land.
You can't play lands off of this.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so I will exile.
So you pay a life for that.
Yep.
Brings you to 17.
17. Okay, and then we'll pass it to you. And now we have the welding jar for that if you have any way to truly interact with it. We got Experimental Frenzy going. Usually not great against the Hand Disruption Fair deck.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've not drawn any lands since my opening hand, which is awkward.
Yep.
Drawn a bunch of discard spells and are now doing nothing.
And that's kind of the problem, right? Like, Smallpox sometimes can hurt you. You know, it's not always great. If you have Flagstone, if you have these Blood Gas, stuff like that, it's great, but...
But I really want to stymie Corey's mana so this Mystic Forge doesn't, start taking over the game.
Yep. Big shout out to Harlan here for putting a Mystic Forge in the deck here. Just keeping it real.
Or do I just try to do that by applying pressure? Yeah, I think I have to wait on this.
Okay.
So let's I'm gonna get a Goblet Shrine and then
Okay.
Stone Forge.
So we're going to 17.
Yeah, I'm gonna get Batter Skull. You can go.
Makes sense. Start the clock. All right, and we know our top card. Good Magic card, but not great right now. All right. We're going to play a star.
Yep.
We'll play a star. I will sack for blue. Draw. Okay. That was pretty good. All right, we will add red. Blast that.
No, you can't.
It's only colorless stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So
It's
just,
not actually Experimental Frenzy. Okay,
just
so
sack
instead
yellow
I'll
star.
sack this for red. I have a blue floating.
Okay. Yep.
Then we'll Galv Blast that. Then I'll play Bobble. Can't play that Magic card, but I probably want to draw it. So maybe that's going to be it for me. No mana floating. Okay, ship it to you. Mystic Forge is messed up.
So I know you have Sword of the Meek in your hand and
Yes.
some other card.
And a mystery.
Um,
Could be anything.
yeah, I'm not drawing any lands here, and instead drawing a pile of discard spells when you're empty-handed, but are still drawing a million cards. It's nothing good.
Yeah. So maybe you should have stripped that Mox Opal from my hand when you had the chance, huh?
Yeah, that was the pun. Like that and Urza
In
were the cards
hindsight,
that punished
yeah.
me.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I didn't really think about the one Mystic Forge. The Urza, like I sort of could have dealt with,
Yeah.
but then, like the Smallpox gets the Karn out and then like limits its ability to start activating while I find another answer.
Definitely drew the best card in my deck for
Uh,
sure.
But the Mystic Forge was going to be a rough one.
Yep.
And if I used I would have had to use the Thoughtseize to take it, so it would have just been sitting in your hand, and then you would have just needed to draw a land to cast it.
Yeah,
so.
it is a bad use of Thoughtseize, I agree. In hindsight, it would have been the play, but I think I would have led on the side of what
Yeah.
you did as well.
So I think I actually just have to try to kill you before you take over. So let's just cast a Bloodcast.
I mean, I know when I need to end a game. I cast 2/1s.
I'm doing what I can, okay?
Okay.
I'm trying my best.
I'll bobble you. Oh, that's going to get you there. That's going to get you there, my friend. Okay, so I'm going to draw off Bobble.
Yep.
I'm going to look before I draw. Okay, I'll draw. All right, we'll look again. Okay. Do we want that Magic card on top? Probably not. So we are going to pay life.
16.
The 16. It exiles it face up, I would assume.
Yes.
Okay. No hidden exile zone. All right, so now we have plenty of options. They're all bad for Ross. We probably... So we can either start the Thopter Sword combo, or we can play Urza. It's probably not great news for you.
Can you just do both then?
No, you can't.
Oh, because you need Engineer?
Yeah, because I can cast Urza. I'd get an artifact. I only have 3 blue. I'd have to whir for it. Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't think you can possibly beat if I just have the combo going here. So we're just gonna do that. We're just gonna whir for 2. I think Urza's great too, but you can have removal for it. I might as well wait and save Urza until I until I can play it and just combo kill you the same turn.
Yeah. The Thopter Foundry is definitely the scariest thing for me because you're right. Like the regular combo is pretty unbeatable.
Yep. And I don't know what true interaction you have for this. I'm sure I can just do this now for safety. We're gonna sack this. Get a token. Oh wait, the sword's not in the graveyard. The Thopter was in the graveyard. Okay.
Yeah, the sword's in your hand.
Okay, well that was a punt. Well, instead I will just cast this. Pass it to you. Definitely thought sword was in the yard.
Yeah. Yeah, with sword in hand and Thopter Foundry and me still struggling on lands, I'm just dead.
Definitely a bad play on my part, but the result was going to be the same with having a welding jar. And even if you strip Sword of the Meek, I was going to just start nickel and diming you. And I mean, that's enough against Smallpox. You're not going over the top like you said early on. You're trying to actually win a fair game. And when I'm just, no matter what, all my lands are 1/1s and I get to gain a life, like it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah. Might have been able to get something going there if I cast the Thoughtseize on that Mox Opal, which is not a great use of the card, but
then the Forge is around, right? Like then you have to deal with the Forge. In hindsight, my next card was Whirza, so it would have been a little tough, but like I just wouldn't have done things for a while.
Yeah. Maybe misplay. I don't really know. That's just a tough judgment call to make. When, like, do I play around a top decked 4-drop?
Yeah.
And because if you don't draw it immediately, I'm going to end up like. What I was hoping was that you would just draw, a land or something or a cheap spell and then play the sword because you just use your mana, get the sword into play. Then I can Smallpox if I drew a land. I had 2 Bloodghast in hand, so I discard 1. Play the land from my hand, and then you discard the Opal to that, and then the 4-drops can get stranded in your hand, and I can Thoughtseize later on and maybe take them before you draw out of it, which I think is a more likely scenario, but just. Didn't play out that way.
And that's the problem. Sometimes Smallpox, like I was saying earlier, is insane. And, you just feel like the game's over. It's a little tougher against a deck that's not actually trying to pressure out creatures. Like Engineer is the only scenario where you can just kind of get the dream, like get Engineer, get a land, get something from hand. That's insane. That's going to be great. But otherwise, you're usually just getting a land and something in my hand, which is fine because you're not losing a lot. But with you losing a land there, you're essentially losing everything. You needed to be progressing your board there. So
agree. So we're going to take a short break here and get sideboard set up. I think sideboard games are going to go pretty long.
Yep.
So we'll leave some time for them. Make sure we get 3 games if we go the full set. So a short break here, and we will be back in just a minute. And we're back here with sideboarding for Orzhov Smallpox against 4-color Whirza. On my side, we've got some good disruptive elements here. Stony Silence is great, and going to shut down a lot of what that deck is doing. Plague Engineer on Thopter will shut down the combo because you need a 1/1 to enter the battlefield in order to trigger Sword of the Meek. It'll enter as a 0/0.
So it depends what you name.
Yeah, I think I will be naming Thopter.
Construct? Okay, yep. Then it will shut it down. You got it.
Yeah, and then the single pit Ashiok will shut down both Goblin Engineer and Whir of Invention, so I think it's worthwhile. Even if you cast it after the Goblin Engineer, you can just use the graveyard effect and get whatever you searched for.
Yep.
So that's nice. I'm cutting some of my slower elements. I think Lingering Souls is really great when your opponent is interacting with you with discard, removal, and counter spells. That is not what the Whirza deck is really doing.
Yep.
And doesn't provide much of a clock. Gets trumped by Thopter Foundry if that ever gets going. So I'm trimming way down on those. And once my Lingering Souls are gone, the Lilianas aren't as good. It's hard to get anything valuable with Edict because Urza makes another body and Engineer does some work.
Yeah.
And plussing it, is still good in this deck because I have Bloodghast and Souls. But once Souls is down, the plus, you're breaking the synergy of that plus isn't as easy to do. And as we saw in game 1, the Whirza deck empties his hand pretty quickly. A lot of cheap spells, Mox Opal to accelerate. So it's not like, you're going to sit there with 3 or 4 cards in hand and keep discarding spells to this Lily on him. So I think some numbers of these, I've gone with 3 Souls, 2 Lily on the cut. For these 5 are where the swaps are coming.
Yeah, seems reasonable to me. And if anything, Liliana is just helping me get bridge locked on you a little bit faster. All right, so we'll sideboarding over here, we'll see if we get the Harlan approval or disapproval in the chat here. I had one other thing I was thinking about here. Side outs here. Spellbomb's pretty bad. Welding Jar I don't think is very needed because you aren't really destroying any of my artifacts. You're definitely just trying to shut them down with Stony. Taking out one of the Pithing Needles because I think one is enough since there are 2 in the deck. And then I was either questioning taking out a star and a Sword of the Meek and just going down to 1 Sword of the Meek, or just 2 stars. The problem is I figured there's either Rest in Peace coming in or Ashiok, where if you ever do hit my Sword of the Meek, if it's only a 1-of, I feel like the games are going to be a lot harder. So I decided to leave both of them in for that aspect. And I just think Chromatic Star is probably one of the worst cards in the deck. Serves its purpose, of course, but if you're having Stony Silence, which any white deck is going to have, I'm going to take out those. Assassin's Trophy is just kind of the catch-all. You know, it can stop that turn 2 Stoneforge Mystic. Of course, that is a bit of a price, but can also deal with Plague Engineer or Stony Silence, any other hate card that you have. Excuse me. And then some of the most beautiful Tezzeret Agent of Bolas ever. What promos are these from? These are sweet.
Those are the box toppers.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, they're gorgeous. They are gorgeous. Anyways, Tezzeret Agent of Bolas is just that great card at sidestepping all of the cards that either shut down your graveyard or shut down artifacts. Because sure, it shuts down the artifact's abilities, but it doesn't shut them down from attacking for 5.
Yeah.
So it's really just the perfect card when they're trying to deal with Plan B. You zig and go Plan C, you know?
Yeah, I think that's going to be great here. It generates card advantage if you needed to, wins through a Stony Silence if you needed to. It's a great top deck when the game goes long, and you always want to set your deck up to be juiced when you're playing against Thoughtseize, Inquisition, Smallpox, Liliana decks, because you know that they're going to deal with the cards in your opening hand, most likely, and that means the game's going to go long, and you need to draw high-impact cards. Tezzeret's just another one of those to go along with your Whirs, with your Urzas, and with your Mystic Forge.
Exactly. I mean, we saw it in game 1, you know? I mean, you can't Thoughtseize the top of the deck. When the top of the deck's a Mystic Forge or a Tezzeret or an Urza, like, that's how I win. You know, if I don't draw those, that's how I lose.
Yep.
So, Harlan out there, how do we do? How do we do sideboarding? Did I get the master approval?
Harlan says, I like Star a lot, would definitely trim a sword.
You would trim a sword.
Yes.
And that makes sense. That was what I was considering, is just cutting 1 star, cutting a sword. But I feel like if you ever put it in your graveyard and then get Rest in Peace or, you know, Ashioks and you lose 1 sword, you're kind of crippled a little bit. But that was what I usually do. But I thought maybe against this specific configuration, I decided to go against it. But
okay.
So I was also wrong. Those Tezzerets are Mythic Edition Tezzerets.
Oh.
Not the box toppers.
Well, they're beautiful.
Get your head in the game.
Get my head in the game. This is the first time that I've been in the same room as these things.
It's just amateur hour over here. We are professionals. We do very professional work here.
No kidding.
We take it very seriously. We got some questions before we get into this game.
So, Ruin Epis says he's been having a bit of a hard time with Bant Spirits. What do you guys think about that deck? It seems as though like tribal decks in general have been on a bit of a decline.
Yeah,
times are hard.
Plague Engineer and Ren and 6 have been tough for those decks against Jund, and a lot of other things. You know, Engineer slots into a lot of sideboards.
Yeah,
bringing it
I've
in
seen
here.
it in here. You know, a couple. We've had copies in here.
So that's a tough aspect to it. I do think there are some things you can do to help that deck out. I think Unsettled Mariner is really good.
And
And
as well.
Unlike Thalia, Mariner does not affect your own companies and your own paths, which is nice. So I would look to Unsettled Mariner if that's the kind of thing you want to be doing. But I do like Spell Queller as a card in the format. Maybe you want to look towards Giver Runes to help protect it.
Sure.
I don't really think the Bant Spirits deck is in the market for Stoneforge Mystic.
I wouldn't think so. I mean, of course, it is just a powerful card that doesn't need a lot of other cards to make it good. I mean, you only need the Mystics and 1 Batterskull. I could see the 3 of and just Batterskull and a sword.
Yeah, but yeah. I'm not. I wouldn't automatically think that's going to make the cut. I also I like Geist of St. Trapped right now. I think that's a card you can look to. Also one that's good with Giver if you want to look towards Giver. But Geist helps you like put pressure on the big mana decks, really close out the game quickly, and is really difficult to kill for the Stoneblade decks. You know the old control decks are main decking several sweeper effects. the Stoneblade decks usually maybe are main decking one, but often have them in the sideboard. So your Geist of St. Traps can frequently go unanswered.
Unless they just block with Battle Skull, and then you're only taking 2 or whatever. But
that's why you got the Anthem effects and the
That's true.
And the Giver runes potentially to get through.
Yep.
So I would look towards that. I would look towards Unsettled Mariner and Geist of St. Traps.
Yep, I agree with that. I think just what Bant's biggest problems were is just everything in Modern Horizon. Like, Modern Horizon was not good to that deck. You have Renin 6, you have Plague Engineer, even Whirza, which jumps out of range of Spell Quellers and stuff. Yeah. So just basically everything from that set, it didn't really get any help except, Mariner, which it's good, but it's not like insane. And then just a lot of stuff that really kind of kick it while it's down. So I'm with you though. Tribal is just in a rough spot.
Yeah.
Plague Engineer is kind of holding that down a little bit because it's so easy to play in Modern, basically any deck if you want to.
And such it's just a good card. Adding Death Touch to that body really elevated the card a lot because normally it would just sort of sit there as this mopey 2/2 and not have a lot of other effect on the battlefield. It would just being easy to remove Engineered Plague. But as a 2/2 Death Touch, like it gets in there, trades with Tarmogoyf, so like Jund decks can main deck one and be fine.
And Whirza is so popular right now, so it's already, this is kind of why I didn't like playing like Dredge in a Hogak world, because you're playing a deck that is playing into the most popular hate, and it's kind of the same. Like if you're playing Tribal, you're playing into a deck where people are already trying to beat the best deck, which is Whirza, and so yeah, it's just a rough place to be for it.
Yeah, agreed.
All right.
So we'll get into the game. I'm on the play, and I've got a solid 7 here.
Okay.
Good mix of stuff.
My hand is okay. It answers some of the problems that I usually face. We're going to keep it. Okay. It's not insane or anything.
Start on a Shambling Vent.
All right. We like that.
Yeah.
That was pretty important for us. Okay. So we are going to start with sacrificing that, getting an Astrolabe into play.
19 life.
I almost always like searching for island right away, especially when you're playing an Astrolabe because your islands are everything. But, now with Whir, you definitely want to be able to cast that as fast as possible if you do draw it.
Yep.
All right, so 19 for me. I'm going to draw a card. And we will play this and pass it to you.
Okay, I am just going to try to shut down this acceleration with a turn 2 Stony, and then I'll pass the turn.
That's probably going to
work. So, Ross.
Yeah.
I got a question from Tannen. Do professionals often forget how they sideboard from game to game? Asking for a friend.
Yes.
Did you forget, or?
I left a Reclamation Sage on my sideboard. Supposed to be in the main deck.
Hey, that's all right, buddy. We forgive you.
Who won that game?
Scoreboard.
Okay.
I'm going to go to 17. I love the digs. That's what teammates are for. All right. Pass to you.
Okay. And now with the... that's another options.
Our hand developed quite well, but
I could play this, but I think that's going to be better for next turn. It's like unless Corey has the trophy right now for this Stony Silence, but even if you do, my hand is pretty good. So you have a 6-card hand.
6 cards. Yep, I've been cantripping every turn. That's the nice thing about having a deck just absolutely full of cantrips is, first they're redraws when you draw them off the top late game, and if you go to Thoughtseize, like it's just the rest of your deck still drawing cards.
It's just so much more mana efficient to go with that. So I'm gonna get a Godless Shrine.
Okay, so going to 17.
17. Yeah, I'm gonna play Liliana.
Okay,
and I will plus it.
Plussing. Okay. So that's pretty good. It's definitely a strong thing here. Well, I definitely am going to probably be doing this next turn. Now it's just this is the card I want to discard. I may regret it later. But it's not going to be insane right now. And we can always bring it back at a later time. Plus, we're not being pressured a lot. I think we're going to go like this. Discard bridge.
I will discard a Bloodghast.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
All right. We're going to start off the turn with a Astrolabe.
Yep.
Oops. Dropping cards. All right. Now we will take 2 and Galv Blast that.
15. Ugh.
All right, pass it to you.
Okay, so no worry about trophy just yet.
Just
There's
yet,
no green
anyways.
mana. I am going to Inquisition you.
Inquisition. Okay.
Mystic. So we're on a Mystic Forge plan. That is interesting.
Mystic
Hold on.
Forge still kind of works, at least.
Can we leave those up?
Yep.
So we have the option to just cast this, and that'll stop Mystic Forge for at least a turn.
That's a smallpox coming in.
We'll actually stop it entirely unless
I draw out of it a little bit.
yeah, unless you draw a land in the next 2 turns. But
Seems pretty solid. But if you don't have the land,
yeah, it's not as good because you can't activate it. So when you hit a
Yep.
land, like you're dead.
yep.
And you're a little light on mana. The question is, if I want a smallpox, also like I guess I'm keeping this, and then my blood gas just doesn't do anything. And then I'm not applying any pressure for at least 2 turns, which is awkward.
Decisions. On my end, I'm just going to, if I untap, play Mystic Forge and more than likely pass the turn. Nothing too exciting on my end.
I think I'm going to go with the smallpox because I think containing this Mystic Forge is so important.
Yeah,
I could
I
draw
think that is good.
Thoughtseize.
Now, I really want to have red mana in case I top deck Engineer, and I really want to have black mana in case I top deck Thopter Foundry so I can cast it, and to have Assassin's Trophy if I cast that. So unfortunately, I got to get rid of 2 Snowlands, so if I do top deck Astrolabe, it's just a dead card.
I mean, you could just fetch for Island then, and then...
True, but I am going to need this for green. That's definitely what I'm saying.
So I'm going to go to 16, you go to 14.
Okay, 14,
Pass the
16,
turn.
you discarded an Urborg?
Yeah.
Okay, and just 1 card in hand? All right, that's pretty solid. Engineer?
Yep.
Okay, so now that's just going to be great regardless. I mean, Wellspring, being able to sacrifice that. Now, do I just get the free combo piece into the yard? Probably. Now, I mean, I still can't combo off, so I want to find an answer for Stony Silence. Maybe I just want to get a value card like Astrolabe into the yard and just start going through it that way. Probably better. We could also put Pithing Needle in the yard just in case you get Gideon, but you're a little ways off from that. Could just get back Bridge by myself all the time and then start getting back Ichor Wellspring. So I think we are going to get a combo piece here, even though it's not going to do much for a while. Play a land and ship it to you.
Well, that Goblin Engineer was basically a nightmare.
Yeah.
Wish I had that.
So you don't have another smallpox in hand, huh?
Nope. I will just do what I can. So there's a land.
Yep.
I'll get this back, and I've got Stoneforge Mystic. I will
All
find
right.
a Batter Skull.
Okay. I will go to 13 then. I'm going to get that green source. And now we just get to have some fun. All right. I guess Breeding Pool is my option here. So I'm at 13. You got a Batter Skull.
Yep.
You're at 16. All right. And you're done, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Not a great draw. So we can't really do anything. So we might as well sacrifice this. Bring back Bridge. Draw a card.
Yep.
Okay. Now, to shut off attacks, I don't necessarily feel like I have to shut off all points of damage at this point. It's not that big of a deal. But I might as well. We'll just Mox Opal. Pass it to you.
So this Batter Skull's not doing anything, but neither was a sword. Maybe Lingering Souls can do something.
Yeah, that's true.
So
You do know what's stuck in my hand.
Let's get some Jadines in here.
Okay.
And I guess I got to attack for 1.
12.
You can go.
All right. So we need a land. We don't need a land, but a land does allow us to not have to hold up anymore, which I think there's just no reason not to do that. We'll go to 11, play Forge. We'll get this just in case. Yeah, he shut down all the artifacts, but unfortunately, two of them still have text on them right now. Okay, so we're gonna take a peek. Can't do anything with that. We'll pass to you. Harlan, is this what you were doing to Ross all weekend last weekend?
So flashback souls.
Okay.
Is that what I do to people?
Yeah.
I belong here.
You only give me two spirit tokens here.
Yeah, there was only two. Yeah.
Well, now we got two more.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kyle even said, I only got two? Well, that's it. And then he just left. All right, you're done, right?
Yep.
Okay, we'll play this. Look. Ooh, do I want to draw that? Probably. Okay, so we will sacrifice an Astrolabe, bringing back a Wellspring.
Yep.
Draw, play this. We will have this at 3, take a peek. And now we just, I guess 6.
Plus.
So if we plus, but I don't want to get a card in my hand.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah.
So that is kind of awkward.
A little bit. So we'll just go.
You can plus and fail to find.
Yeah, you can definitely may, but it's not lethal next turn, right? So
yeah,
that's
but if you find a
12.
0, you'll definitely want to take the 0 and play it.
Sure. But I think I can just go. Oh, that's true. That's true.
It's not like the 5/5s are getting through.
That's true. That's true. But and they can't. Well, they can't attack. So, all right, we'll take up
I mean, you could get rid of your own bridge.
2. Sure. All right. Now I could get a card in hand if I want to here, and just let your 1/1s attack. Nah, that doesn't.
They would attack Kazaret. That seems bad.
Yeah, we'll put these at the bottom. We'll take another peek. All right. Pass to you.
I'll fetch to 15.
Okay.
And put in this batter skull. Get myself a germ.
Sure.
We are in a lot of trouble. Don't think we can win because I don't have a direct answer to the ensnaring bridge, which is probably an oversight. It might mean for game 3 I'll have to bring in more Lilianas because like Liliana Ultimate is my only way to remove a bridge.
I mean, I seen these style decks. I was playing yesterday doing a little bit of testing, and I played against a black-white deck that played like the thing where you can flash in a aura and then equipped it right away, and they played that card that gives it +10/+10 and loses flying. So there's flashing in +10/+10 on a creature.
Colossus Hammer.
It felt like a meme, but I did lose. It felt like a meme.
Upkeep, you gain a life. Go to 12.
Go to 13. Maybe I missed a.
I do.
Okay.
Probably a fetch.
All right. So we'll play this. And I guess we will sacrifice this. Now, I don't know if I really want to draw 2 cards. 2 cards is a little dangerous. I think because I did play a land already.
Yes.
So
you know the top card. But you really don't want to draw another land.
Exactly. So I think we'll just bring back a sword. Okay. So draw a card from this going away. We'll take a peek. I've not been able to cast a card off the top yet. Now 2, 3, 6, 7. You're at 15?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm 1 off lethal. So I could tick up if I find a 0 drop, I win. But then I can't ultimate. So I don't think it matters.
If you have a 0 in your hand,
much.
then you win because you fare for another one.
Yeah, no, but I have a whir. So we will whir for whirring for 2 seems fine. Guess we'll leave this open.
Just get your Foundry on the.
Yeah. Get the combo in case I do ever draw an Assassin's Trophy. And we could get Pyrite Spellbomb too if I feel the need for that.
You can basically get whatever you want.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any shot at winning this game.
All right, we'll put that in. Do a quick shuffle. Look at the top. I will tick up. Now we can actually get something if we feel the need. We'll get this. Take a peek. Play a bobble. Play a needle. We'll name Gideon. And we'll ship it to you.
Okay, I'll Inquisition you.
You got it.
Okay, I'll Thoughtseize you.
All right. And that's the problem with the decks that really manipulate the hands early is the late game draws just aren't there, right? You know, I mean, you're drawing Thoughtseize, you're drawing Inquisitions. Well, decks are drawing answers. So you really need to win the game by turn 3, essentially, you know?
Yeah, or you need to close out the game, and I'm just unable to do that because of the bridge. You know, maybe I'm supposed to hold the Smallpox because of the threat of Goblin Engineer off the top.
Yeah.
But I really didn't want you to play Mystic Forge out of your hand. So I was sort of squeezed. And then, I got destroyed by the Mystic Forge at game 1.
Yeah.
Figure well, I've got some time. Let's try to delay that one. Maybe hit a Thoughtseize or a Liliana and be okay. And it just didn't work out that way. But impressive to just win straight through a turn 2 Stony Silence. I was on the play. You basically didn't get to activate any of your artifacts the entire game.
Yeah.
It just didn't matter. The prison game plan takes over there.
Yep.
You're able to still draw some extra cards with Goblin Engineer.
Yep.
And that's something that Stoneforge Mystic can't do. If that was a Stoneforge Mystic and not a Goblin Engineer, I think I'd win that game easily.
100%. I think Stoneforge Mystic is just a trap in Whirza. Yeah. Goblin Engineer just solves so many problems against these decks that can actually pressure bridge. And if you had some disenchants or something like that where you could pressure, the Engineer would have been really important because I just always leave up a mountain and I start activating at end step if I want to do some value stuff. And maybe that's what I should have just did anyways, because then if you go to disenchant bridge, I'm just like, okay, before combat, bring back bridge,
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of subtlety to what Goblin Engineer brings to the deck that Stoneforge Mystic doesn't. And it looks like, that extra mid-range plan, of being able to Batterskull people just isn't that important in this deck. Already has a robust way to win through disruption with either bridging them or drawing a bunch of cards with Mystic Forge or Ichor Wellspring, or drawing a bunch of cards with Urza. So a lot of different ways to get through various hate cards. You saw a fairly easy win through that Stony Silence. I mean, you shrugged it off without much of a thought. I was pretty happy to see no Assassin's Trophy there, and then the game got away very, very quickly.
Yep.
And I agree, that is one of the issues of the Smallpox decks. It got a lot of discard. Its top decks aren't great, and once it sort of falls behind, it just doesn't do a lot of really powerful stuff. It needs to bury you quickly, needs to get those synergies going. And I was going to get them going a little bit with the Liliana, but you had the one removal spell to break that up.
Yep. Galvanic Blast is just a phenomenal card at dealing with hate bears, and when it can go 4 and deal with a Liliana and stuff, that's just some extra bonus.
Deal with a Jace if you're trying to play that game plan against control. So very flexible card. I know some people play Fatal Push in that spot. Harlan's been a fan of Gal Blast, and certainly better than Fatal Push would have been right there.
For sure. And I like Harlan's choice when it came to his sideboard choice. He does have Fatal Push in the board. As far as the Indianapolis list that I'm planning on playing, it's pretty close. I mean, I think he just did it. He just straight up did it. And one thing about our games is we can't really overlook the fact that after you basically played the final Thoughtseize or the final Inquisition, to really look at my hand and be like, okay, I have everything on lock right now. I drew the best card every time. Like, Goblin Engineer was perfect there. I didn't have 4 mana, so I didn't have a way to top deck that Mystic Forge or that Urza. Goblin Engineer was the best because then I had the engine constantly going with Ichor Wellspring, drawing me 2 cards in and out, and it was just very good draws. I could have just been flooded, but the one nice thing is you didn't pressure me a ton, so even if I had some bad draws, I was eventually going to probably draw because you didn't have that much pressure.
The games looked not close because you drew the best card immediately and pulled away quickly, but I had torn your hand apart and gotten set up, and I was just about to land my threat and start clocking you.
Yeah.
And so if you brick for a couple turns, that's only just letting me establish the clock.
Yeah.
And you're going to have, probably 3 to 5 draw steps there to find something good to make it a game at least. So it's not like you were super far behind and desperate for those top decks. They just happened to come quickly, and they turned what would have been a close game maybe into a runaway for your side. And that's a good sign for the Urza's deck and a bad sign for the Smallpox deck.
And I mean, something that we were even saying before, where we were saying, you can hate towards one side of the deck, the artifact side, the graveyard hate, the Thopter side. You drew a piece of hate, but then I'm just like, okay, door number 1 is closed. I have 2 more doors to go to. Let's just pick which one, and I love having that versatility, and it makes sense why this deck won the tournament. Obviously had a skilled magician, controlling the cards, but it was just, it's
versatile,
a powerful deck.
Yeah, the skilled pilot, that's a recipe for success.
Exactly.
So, the Whirza deck continues to impress. Definitely something to be prepared to play against or pick up yourself.
Yep.
We are pretty close to that time. We've got time for a couple questions. Have we got some, Dan?
Yeah. So, from Delver Guy, have either of you tested Jeskai Stoneblade and seen if it's a contender on being solid?
The Jeskai Stoneblade decks, there's a couple ways to go with them. You can be sort of base as Aureus and just touch red for a little bit of extra removal. In particular, a Braid is a nice one. Or you can be a real 3-color deck and be very burn heavy and pretty aggressive. I'm not a big fan of either of them because I don't think the gains from the red removal are significant to lose out on the mana base, and in particular being able to smoothly play Field of Ruin. I think Field of Ruin is a super important card for the Azorius decks. Also Force of Negation, harder to cast that as a pitch spell when you got all these red removal spells in your deck. If we get to a format where people are playing more cheap creatures, if humans gets big again, if some other tribal decks get big, elves, spirits, things like that, or like a Wild Nakatl deck, starts to do something, maybe the Devoted Druid combo deck, a creature combo deck like that, where those red removal spells really match up well, then I'm going to want to be playing a Jeskai deck. But with this metagame, where it's Whirza, big mana decks, other Stoneforge decks, where you don't need a ton of removal, you just need to handle those early Stoneforges, then I don't think the red removal is good.
Yeah, I'm not really there. The only thing that would kind of bring me to that is like being able to play Teferi Time Reveler. But to answer the original question, the extent of Jeskai that I've tested is Jeskai Whirza. Yes. I've been in my Whirza bubble, really focusing on different iterations of that. Bless you. All right, we got one more.
Yep, one more from Ice W6647. Thoughts on Grixis Control? It looks like it has a lot of answers to the format.
Wrong, Corey B.
Yeah.
Wrong, Corey B.
Grixis Control always looks like it has a lot of answers because it's a deck of like 35 answers and 25 lands.
Yep.
The problem is in closing the game out and making sure those answers line up appropriately.
Yep.
Is it going to be that good against an Whirza deck? You got some Kolaghan's Command, some discard spells, maybe some counter spells, but is that good enough when you really don't have pressure? Yeah. Is that good enough against all these mid-range decks that are filled with 2-for-1 creatures? Icefang Quaddles, Stoneforge Mystics, Ranger, Captain of Eoses, as we're going to see in the third match.
Yeah.
I'm not confident that the Grixis decks really hold up that well. And then you have the issue of big mana decks. Those control decks that don't put on a lot of pressure are a struggle against Titan Shift and Tron.
And can't really play many Field of Ruins because they really need their mana, especially if they play a Bolus or something, get a little froggy, You
get some Alpine Moons in the sideboard.
That's true.
That helps you out. But I don't think it's good enough.
So here's my problem. Here's my problem with just playing Control in Modern in general is on paper, it looks so great, right? I can deal with. It's how do you beat this deck? I have these cards. How do you beat this deck? I have this. Yeah. How do you beat this? I have these. You have the tools, but it's just not how everything plays out. Modern is so diverse that you may be prepared for these top 5 decks. Then you play against Infect and you're just I can't beat this. You play against just random stuff and you're just really, really unprepared for stuff. Modern is just so diverse that I really like playing something proactive so that you can make small adjustments to fit the matchups, but still have your game plan. But the thing with Control, Blue-White Control, Grixis Control, Esper Control, it doesn't really matter. You have to be answering everything. And when a metagame is really constricted, like we see in Standard, Control can sometimes come to the top. Esper Control occasionally comes into check when it can pinpoint 2 or 3 matchups in Standard. But Modern's just too big. It's just too big. And maybe when Hogak was running around, it condensed the metagame in such a way that there were 3 or 4 decks. So you could kind of pinpoint your control deck for that. But now with Hogak being gone, I don't know if you looked at the most recent deck dump for Magic Online a couple days ago.
I did.
There was 100 decks. There was 100 decks. How do you prepare a control deck to be prepared for 100 decks.
Yeah.
That's my problem.
How do you beat Dredge, Tron, and Bant Soul Herder?
yeah. And Urza, throw in an infinite
Urza,
combo deck where your lightning bolts aren't going to kill it. You know, where your specific removal has to kill it, but you can't have removal for it when they already have Sword and Thopter in play because they go off. You know, it's just too many variables for me. Maybe I'm just a bad control player, but I think it's just too tough to be doing control.
I'm the same
now.
way. I prefer to be proactive, so not a fan of Grixis.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll wrap us up for the second match of the day. We're going to take another 5-minute break. Yep,
5 minutes.
And we will bring the last one, the last match where
This is spicy.
yes, two of the spicier decks in the tournament. Corey will be playing John Lim's Rakdos midrange deck, and I will be playing Timothy Thomason's Bant Stoneblade deck. So a nice little midrange mirror to wrap things out. Should be a fun one. Don't want to miss it.